So if you choose to study abroad, it will be a really good experience, and just go for that because you only live once. So yeah, just go for it. Even though you might have some problem, like really difficult problem or some setbacks or something really frustrates you, but you can learn from the mistake or you can learn from those things, and it just all your experience, and it will make you a better person. So my name is Iris Tseng, and I'm a second-year student in Bournemouth University studying film. I'm studying university film course, of course. To be honest, the reason why I pick film is because of the director, Christopher Nolan. I really love his film, especially Dunkirk. I love war films, and I mean, me personally, I really want to make a film or a documentary about like wartime to teach people like the history and just remind us like as a human, do not repeat the history, like how like war impacts human beings and it's just really bad. And even though we are repeating it now, but I just hope something like a documentary can be educational to people or like for kids, like I mean now next generation. And as a media people, I just hope we can be helpful just by teaching them war or something like that is bad.
And would you say for students who would like to get into media, it's good to have that kind of passion when studying your course? Obviously, you want to be like Christopher Nolan. Would you suggest them having someone who they want to not copy, but use some of the tricks they use to pursue in their media career?
I think definitely need to have the patience for that. But the tricks, to be honest, you can just pick up the tricks or the technique when you are just start learning it or get into an industry or doing your like filming or on set. So I think the main thing is having the patience for like doing film or like becoming a director or a producer. That is the most important thing, I think.
And you're now 2 years into your course.
Yeah.
What do you think of your course so far?
To be honest, first year was very, should I say easy? Is it not bad to say easy?
First year is meant to be a good ease in. You're meant to like, it's just, if you've never done film before, it's meant to ease you in to kind of give you the foundation of film.
Yeah, to be honest, first year is giving everyone the foundation of like, okay, like what is the really spatial term for that? Like PU, what is that called? Like makeup term, like on a code sheet, and teach you like how to write a script and the format of the scripts and everything.
Harvard referencing.
Harvard referencing, they did teach us how to do that, but just once. And they just give us the website to say, there you go, that is a referencing how you should do that. And they didn't
So that
really...
wasn't what the PU thing was.
PU thing is a pickup. It should be on call sheet, so it will be like for crew or cast, and they will like pick up time or like how are they going to pick up. So for example, if they have own equipment, not equipment, like own transportation, you can just type O/T, so which is mean like
or like code names.
Yeah, like code name.
Okay, like mini name to shorten it.
Yeah, so basically first year is just teaching you the abbreviation for every term on set, or like the theory part and the film history. So in my first year, we have to make like a video essay for like how to change a genre from like horror to comedy or comedy to horror or whatever genre you choose. And I think first year, people would think first year is really useless. It's just very too easy, for some people it's too easy, and they just like they don't really pay attention to it. But in second year, it's where it gets really, really serious. So for example, my first semester, I remember we have like some unit called, what's that called? Something we have to do with like law, like copyright, intellectual property thing. That is very serious. So as a filmmaker, you need to know that, even though you're not a producer. But if you want to be a producer, that is very important. You have to learn that. And yeah, so in my second year, first semester, just basically really serious thing, like intellectual property, law stuff, and also like some documentary thing as well. Like learn how to be practical, like write documentary, interview question, and the different like different approach to film a good documentary. And also, what else do we do in second year, first semester? We also have to write the script, any genre, but the thing we have to, like when people read your script, they have to immediately identify what genre is that. So that is how you get a grade. And for this semester, second year, second semester, it's very stressful, to be honest. We have to pick 3 units, which could be like production management, camera lighting, script supervising, or like editing, or sound and location. And then you have to write essay for each unit, and you also have to have a project for each unit, which means some people might do like 3 or 4 projects at the same time this semester, which is quite a lot. And we also, at the same time, we also have to find some placement in second year, which is really stressful. So in this and like at this moment, I have like 4 projects or 5 projects on my plate, and I also have to do the job interview thing for my own placement thing. So it's just very stressful. Yeah, a lot.
And I was going to ask, so have you chosen the more practical route or the more route on the course? Is your course more practical or more theory?
Honestly, I think, well, Bournemouth University have 2 film courses. So one is film, which is what I chose, and the other one is film production. So that one is more like a lot more practical than our one, but our one is like a combination of theory and practical. So it's not very theory based, but at the same time it's not very practical based. So it's like in the middle.
Okay, so just for students who are curious about doing your course, if they want to be more like on set, touching cameras, operating cameras, which is just they go for the other course, versus students who want to learn how it all works, the breakdown, the business, like you said, have to have law if you want to be a director, all of that is in your course, while you're still learning parts of that practical course.
Yeah, I would suggest if they want to be really, really practical, they need to choose either film production or media production. Those 2 courses, or TV production as well. Those 3 courses are really, really practical, but for our one, it's more like half-half. So you have to learn those like knowledge, like academic knowledge, to be like writing essay, or like do the law thing, to deal with the law thing. Yeah.
Okay. If we go into the A-levels / subjects for your course, although you're an international student and you didn't study A-levels, what subjects and or interest do you think you should do before doing your course to put you in the best position?
I mean, definitely film one, and like that is one of it. But apart from that, I think like English literature, or like history, or maybe like math. I mean, why math? I think it's because we have one project. Like every filmmaker had to do, especially like those who want to be producer or production manager. You will have a situation that you need to do budgeting, and that is when you really need to know how to do math. Like even though in industry you have like movie budgets, movie magic thing, like the software that helps you to calculate thing, but as a student, like small budget or low budget or near zero budget thing, you have to use your own math. So math is important, and then history and English literature, I think it just help you to like writing scripts or writing something really creative for your projects, for your production, so that you can come up with really, really good script without like any grammar mistake or like anything weird. I think the worst, probably, I mean, just in general, the university. Both in my course. I think worst thing, probably like first year, it was just boring, really boring. In my course, it's compared to like media production. I'm so jealous when they have like so many workshop, and then like camera workshop, lighting workshop, or radio workshop. But compared to us, we have nothing. We have maybe 1 or 2 optional workshop, but other than that, we have nothing, to be honest. We have more theory thing in first year. But in general, I think Bournemouth is just a small place, a small town. I think that is, I mean, if you want to just like go clubbing or just do a lot of shopping thing, it might not be the best place to go. You might need to go Southampton or somewhere else. Yeah.
And the best things?
The best thing, I think, is in general, I think Bournemouth, like people in Bournemouth are really kind and lovely. If you have any question, they are really like, they tend to be like, they're willing to answer your question, whatever question you have. And like, for example, me as a foreigner, a lot of people are willing to help me when I just first came here, and it's just really nice, to be honest. And as for my course, I think the good thing is the theory part. So even though you might think it's not really useful when you were in first year, but to be honest, in second year, and when you really have to find a placement, it's actually really useful, because you know what you are doing, you have those knowledge rather than just all practical stuff. So you have those like theory thingy in your head, like, okay, this is how it works, this is how that works, and those abbreviation for those terms I mean, those practical, like those who do the practical stuff might not know that knowledge, to be honest.
Okay. And is there anything else, or is it pretty much just the course, how it's just not as entertaining as you'd like it to be?
I think it's just entertaining the
That's all right.
That is a very interesting question. So in my foundation year, it was when pandemic just, broke out. So I couldn't really travel. So I was back in Taiwan. And in the UK, of course, you have lockdown, so you can't really go anywhere. Yeah.
What was it like studying in the UK from Taiwan? As in your lectures, your seminars, was it hard to do that? You're in a whole different country, but you're still learning online. Did you find that difficult? Although you said you found first year kind of boring, was it difficult?
I don't find it difficult, to be honest. I think it was really fun because I think my time zone from here, it was just so when I have 9 a.m. class, it was like afternoon 3 o'clock. So it wasn't really have a huge impact on me. But for my friend who studied in the US, when they have the same situation as me, or like Australia, they have to wake up really early, like probably 3 p.m. or 2 p.m. to study their 3 a.m. to 2 a.m. to study their units or to go to the lecturer, and then they go to sleep at probably 8 in the morning. And it was just really hard for them. But for me, I feel really lucky.
And did you live in your first year of your official course?
I stay in Purbeck, the student accommodation.
And what was it like living in Purbeck?
Oh, to be honest, I really love Purbeck. I really, really love Purbeck. Like the receptionists, they are so nice, and they are like, I don't know, they're just like family. They treat us like their family. And as for my flatmates, they're really good as well. For example, I have one American flatmate. She is amazing, like really, really good. She will cook some food for us, especially in Thanksgiving and Halloween. Thanksgiving in particular, because American, they love
Of
Thanksgiving.
course.
Yeah.
And have you although we won't talk about where you're living currently, are you still living in accommodation, or have you moved to a house?
I now live in a student house with my course mate. And I mean, living in a house is not bad, but I mean, for me personally, I will choose, if I have a choice, I will choose to move back to student accommodation next year, because the reception will help you to receive your parcel and deal with the letters or council tax, etc., for you. And you don't really have to worry about paying bill every month. But if you choose to live in a student house, you have to worry about bills every month, and it's just like, oh, I can't really use the heating because the energy bill it's just go insane this month, so I can't really use it. But if you live in student accommodation, you don't have to worry about that. You can just turn on the heating whenever you want. You can just take shower whenever you want. You don't have to worry about that. But for housing, you have to.
Which student accommodation, if you could choose, would you live in?
You mean next year? For next year?
Just in general. We always say where you're going next year, but we're saying if you could choose any of them to live in, where would you live?
I know definitely not Cranbourne. According to my friend, it just Crackbourne. So I mean, Purbeck is really good. Betty Point, not sure. Skyline is like a fancy one, but expensive as well. Astor Point apparently is a lot of people's choice. And there is one just open, like still under construction, but they are going to open next year. Actually, next semester year. It's just near the bus stop near Lansdowne, and I think that will be a really popular choice as well. So I would say like Purbeck or like Oxford Point, or the one is going to open.
Opening up. Okay.
Yeah.
If we now go into the area, what is it like being a student in the Bournemouth area? We already said that Bournemouth is a small town, but the people are very friendly. But for you, just being there, what's it like?
I think it's really relaxing. I mean, it's near the beach, just a lot of like seagulls. Seagulls are terrible, but listen to their sound. It just makes it's just relaxing. And as for the nightclub, I'm not a person that goes clubbing a lot, so I'm not sure about a clubbing thing like nightclub. But for food, I'm pretty sure you can get a lot of food in the town square. There's a lot of like food from different countries, like Caribbean or Chinese or Taco Bells. Or
Are you able to find any native food yourself?
I think there is one near the bus stop in the Triangle part. I think it's called yubu. It has bubble tea, but also serves some Taiwanese cuisine. But there is another Taiwanese restaurant in Christchurch as well called Taiwanese Palace. Yeah.
Have you tried it yourself?
Yes, I did try Taiwanese fast. I didn't try Yubu, the food in Yubu, because when I went there, they say they're not serving food at that day. So yeah, but the Taiwanese Palace, it was quite good, I think.
And what about for getting your essentials, like your toilet paper, your washing up stuff? What's that like living in the area and trying to get to those?
So if you are living in student accommodation, it's very, very easy to get that. So I think Lansdowne is where the student accommodations are. So in Lansdowne, there is one Tesco. And then if you go like 5 minutes walk to the train station, there's a big Asda. And next to Asda, there's a Lidl. And then another 15 minutes or 10 minutes walk is another Aldi. So it's pretty easy, I think.
Okay. What general advice would you give to students about to study at university?
I would say just hang in there, don't drop out. You will see like it's just worth it, to be honest. Like you can learn a lot of knowledge and you can meet a lot of new friends no matter what country they're from. And it's just networking and also knowledge, I think. And you also have some uni life as well, which is like the craziest part, I think. Like go clubbing or what.
Advice would you give to students about to study at Bournemouth University?
I think that's a very interesting question. Studying in Bournemouth University, probably don't have a high expectation of how big is Bournemouth, I think. And don't have the expectation of like uni life just very easy and you can just like not go to lecture or just stay in your house in your bed for the whole day and you will get your grade, you can pass your unit. It's not like that. It's you still have to go to uni and it's actually really matter if you go to a lecture or not, even though you're smart, but still go to a lecture, to be honest. And yeah, and
Okay. And what advice would you give to students about to study your course at university?
in my course for the first year it was just easy and boring, but don't feel like, just even though it's boring and easy, just but you still have to study hard. It's you pay 9 grand for that, you still need to study, and for international you pay 14 grand, so you have to study, you must study. And it ends up just really you have a good result if you really study hard, and it looks great on your CV as well. So it might make you easier to find a placement next year or like a job in the future. So that people would know, oh, actually this person will really study hard no matter how easy or how boring is that unit. And it just looks great and you will learn something as well. And also for the production for in the first year, I know film course they don't really have a workshop, but you will make a lot of mistake in your first year, first two production. But don't give up. It's your experience. You can learn from the mistake, and in your second year you can do much more better. And maybe collaborate with someone not from your level, probably level 5 or level 6, or maybe master degree. It might be a good choice as well. And look for someone not in film course, maybe media production. They are really good. They know how to use a camera, so learn how to use equipment from them. And yeah.
Okay. You chose studying in the UK over Taiwan, and you chose specifically study it over an apprenticeship / going right into work. What path you to make this choice?
I think it was because, in Asia, they focus on men than women more, especially this industry, media industry. So they won't really listen to women's idea or opinion. And our salary has a huge difference from men. And I don't want to face that situation when I was in the actual industry. And the salary in my hometown was really, really low. And it might not actually be able to feed myself or afford to buy a house or like, I don't know, a lot of things in the future. So I was like, okay, why not choose the other country? And I just pick UK and then found Bournemouth University.
And you talked about how there's a difference between men being prioritized over women in Taiwan. Do you think being in the UK now that you're studying here, there is a big difference in that? Or do you still feel like there's still a bit of favoritism towards men?
Honestly, there's still a little bit, but I think I can see the industry is trying their best to improve this situation. For example, every job description at the end, you can see they are trying to be more diverse. They're trying to look for people who are minority, like a different background, or like LGBTQ groups, or like women, and especially BFI project. So BFI short film thingy, or like feature film, in their crew, in a group, crew group, they have to have someone who is one like minority group, or like really diverse. So I think the UK media industry is actually improving.
What was it like being a foundation student? And what is that for students who may have to do it before they start university?
To be honest, I think that college actually just mainly they're focusing on like improving English skill, but at the same time they also teach you how to write essay as well. Also like some like current issue like global issue stuff, or some entrepreneur skill like how to do the marketing thing, and also how to edit video, design website. Basically, it's very general thing. And you mean for people who want to study there, I think. I mean, I know it's a mandatory thing, but just enjoy your life there. It's actually really fun. You can learn some good friends. You can know some good friends from there, and they are from different countries. You can also learn different culture from them. And the college also hold some really interesting events every week. So do go to the event, and you can learn a lot.
You said that you have to go to it. Is that implying that it's part of your visa when applying, or how does that work when it comes to your visa going in your foundation year?
So that is mandatory, but for visa, that's a separate thing. So for the international college thing, you need a 1 year visa for that. For a university, you need, I think, at least 3 years, or if you're doing placement, 4 years. So, but why it's mandatory, I think, is because how the university works, because they are afraid, like, you need to do IELTS, but even though you reach that specific grade, but they will still ask you to do the. So IELTS is like an English test for every foreigners who want to go to study in either UK, US, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, or like those who want to move to UK, immigrant actually. So basically, it's a very important test.
And can you just give an idea of what it consists of? So what can they do to prepare for it?
So basically it has listening, writing, reading, and listening basically just listen to the thing, listen to someone's dialogue and write down the answer. It does has the like multiple choice, but you have to like in some parts, I remember in some parts you have to actually write down how to spell that vocabulary. And for writing, I think the writing bit is actually really hard. Even I remember when I was trying to like do the test and practicing it, I got a teacher who is from Edinburgh, and he said, to be honest, IELTS reading parts could be really difficult for like British as well, because in some like there are some terms in the reading list, reading section, you guys doesn't really know what does that mean, and it's like really specific terms and like really weird, or really specific, like a specific term from certain industry or certain area that you might not really know it.
No.
Yeah, and for the reading test, it has multiple choice. It also have like a reading, like you have to fill out the blank, like the vocabulary you found.
Oh, in the sentence.
Yeah, but they rephrase it. So you might not be able to find it like the way it's like a phrase in the reading part. So it just really requires you to just analyze the things. Like it's quite difficult, to be honest. And the writing bit is mainly like it will give you a diagram or a map or something else, and then you have to describe how this diagram works. Not how this diagram works, actually, is in diagram one, what it says, and how, like, what is the best way to describe it. And then there is another second section for the writing bit. So second section, I think you have to write something like a debating thing. So they will give you a title, a topic, and then say probably like, what do you think about, I don't know what's the best topic to.
But it's like something just like giving it, like you said, debate. So arguing and making an argument for something of why something's better than the other,
Yeah.
or why it's not better.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, just like that.
Okay.
It's like, you need to give your own opinion and then why you think is good, why you think is bad, and you have to like. I remember my teachers always say it's always good if you give 3 examples for each section, like pros and cons. I think that's what he said. Also, there is just remember there's 4 parts for IELTS: reading, reading, listening, writing, and speaking. So the last part is speaking, and you have to actually just have a normal conversation with someone else. And then it's really similar to this writing part, like the debating. They will give you a topic and then think probably like, what do you define beautiful, and who is the most beautiful person you think? It's like, I know that's a really weird question, but when I got the text, my question actually is just, what do you define beautiful, and who is the most beautiful person you can think of? And it's just very weird question, I know. But yeah, I think that is part 3. And then part 2, I don't really remember what is that, but basically just conversation.
So just go back into the visa section. So that's the first thing you need for the visa. And then what is the next step of the visa process?
It's CAS, which is an offer letter from the university or from your college. And then once you have the CAS, and you also have a financial statement, say you have enough money to pay for your tuition fee this year, and also enough money to pay for your living, like meals or everyday food.
So just to go back 1 second, how do you actually apply for a UK university as an international student?
I think that's a very interesting question, because everyone has different method to apply for it. For me, myself, it was because I applied for the international college, and it helped me. Well, that was a Bournemouth University International College. So after I graduated, and they asked me, do I want to just go to Bournemouth University, or do I want to apply for like Royal Holloway or Sussex, and they can help me apply for that. But I just I got scholarship from Bournemouth University, so I was like, well, yeah, Bournemouth.
So just for clarification, your way in studying in the UK was going to an international college, applying for an international college, and then through that taking the next step. So then if we go back 1 more step, how did you apply for the international college? At this point, you're in Taiwan.
Yeah. So when I was in my actual college in Taiwan, and I went to, I think it was a studying agency that helps people to find a college or university in like UK or Canada or New Zealand, I don't know. And they helped me to apply for international college, and they helped me to like go to university.
So it's an agency that kind of was the middleman between you and Bournemouth University. So going forward a couple steps, we've now got our IEFS?
What? IEFS?
The English test you have to do.
Oh, IELTS.
IELTS, sorry, I don't know where I got that code name from. IELTS. Now we've got our CAS. Oh, for the CAS, how would you prove you can pay for the tuition? Do you have to send like bank statements? Do you have to send credit? Okay, so what, like, is it just bank statements, or is there anything else you need to send with the CAS?
Just bank statement, I think, as far as I remember, just bank statement.
And then what is the next step?
The next step, so you have to send everything to the UK Immigration Office, and then we'll process the whole thing, and then we'll issue 1 letter says, okay, you have the permission to enter UK with the student tier 4 visa, and then you have to have that letters, every document, just in case, like the financial statement, the CAS, do print it out. And so you have to pay for like insurance, like an NHS thing. And also what else? And where you live, where is your accommodation? And also bring a little bit of cash, and then bring it when you go through the immigration, just in case. But sometimes, in my case, the immigration doesn't like, they didn't really look at what I have, because I got like a huge book of it. So when they see me, and then I gave them my passport, and I just give them all of the document, and we're like, okay, they was like, okay, that's fine, give it to you. And then they're like, what do you study? Where do you study? I was like, Bournemouth University Film. And I was like, okay, great, okay, there you go, you can go now. And then you have to pick up your BRP card afterward. That is a really important thing, which is, it's like a card, like your identity card, like stay.
To prove you can stay in the UK.
Yeah, you can stay in the UK, and who you are, where, like how old are you. And if you were going abroad during like this 4 years or 3 years, please do bring your BRP card with you, because when you come back without a BRP card, the immigration have a right to decline you to enter UK. So do bring it, otherwise you might leave a record on your thing and it looks bad.
Okay.
So when I was a video intern, basically I did a job was like, what I did is writing video questions, and I have to come up with like different themes, different topics for like different for the program, and then just distribute it to my supervisors and then let them go through, okay, this idea is feasible, that one is not good, and that one maybe, and then just they will pick the best one and then let me just write the interview question and shooting schedule, and then I have to film it, and I will submit it to someone else to edit it. And then also at the same time, because at the beginning when I applied for that job, I remember they require me for like social media stuff, which actually have a video that I edited. So I also have to like kind of run my social media stuff and like the vlog thingy. So basically you have to use all of the skill you learn from first year and second year or as a filmmaker.
And actually working for the company, did you feel out of place as an international student and or as a Taiwanese woman? Or did you feel like it was very accepting of you, even though you had your junior skills as a media person, they were still accepting and understood you were still a junior?
To be honest, that company is in Taiwan, so I don't really have to worry about if I'm an international student or what, because they are looking for international student who is in the UK. And yeah,
that's all right. And what was it like being an international student ambassador?
As an international student ambassador, what we do is basically we have a training, like we have to answer question like international student who is coming to UK, who want to study in BU, and we have to answer their question and probably just help them sort out what problem they have and then what question they might have and they have, and just help them go through the process.
And for getting a job while getting a visa, was getting a job part of your visa or was it something that was optional?
It depends on what kind of job you are getting. So in my visa, we cannot work more than 20 hours per week. So you have to find a job, like a part-time job, and the working time is less than 20 hours per week. As for placement, it's you can do placement, a year placement with your visa.
With any hours. And let me just ask, is the Bournemouth University job, can that sustain you for not working no more than 20 hours, or is it a bit difficult as they may give you more than 20 hours? Or they understand it? I'm basically saying, does the student ambassador job work around your visa, or is it, how does that, do they work with each other, or do you?
It does work with each other. Basically, our job is like a day job. So when you get your task, for example, like my friend, she is student ambassador, not international ambassador, but she only needs to work in like on open days, which is just 1 day or 2 days. So it just work with my visa, to be honest.
Okay. And what is life like at Mind?
I love becoming a volunteer in especially my manager, my assistant manager. They are really, really nice. So they would give me, like, if I saw something in a charity shop and I really like, sometimes they would just like, oh well, you can just have it, you don't really need to pay for it, and you can just have it, which is really nice. And like volunteering in Mind, you also learned a lot. For example, I remember my very first day volunteering in Mind. We bumped into the thief, like a thief, and then she steals the item right in front of me and my colleague. And I was like, how does that even work? Because the till doesn't go through the process the money. And I was like, I noticed that because I wasn't at till. I was like in the clothes beside my colleague who was at till. And I was like, why is that till still having like that weird sign on the top? Yeah, and I was asking, he was like, wow, I don't really know. So I went to ask my assistant manager, and she was like, wow, I don't know how to tell that, but apparently probably that woman didn't pay for the item, and that customer asked her so many questions before she actually put her credit card on the thing. And then we were like, okay, that's a really weird question, because she asked, does the money really goes directly to help people? Was like, Yes, and I confirmed that with my assistant manager. I called my assistant manager out and tried to answer her question, and then what we didn't realize is she just take off her credit card and didn't really pay for the item. And yeah, and that was very but I mean, I learned how to prevent this kind of thing afterward. But we also have some tough customers or racist customers in a shop or drunk. So yeah, it's just very interesting.
It's an experience.
Yeah. I mean, you learn how to communicate with people or deal with the conflict, especially the customer might be like a drunk or a racist person or like a pervert. We do have some customers.
Wow. Okay. So while at university, you started 3 years ago now, as you had your foundation year, your first year, now you're in your second year.
Yeah.
Although it's only been those 3 years, do you feel like you've had any change or growth, like mentally or physically, while being at university? You talked about when you're at international college, you met different cultures, different students that have different languages. You talked about when you started uni, you now realize, okay, this is for me. But even though first year was easy, now it's second year, yeah, it's a bit more difficult, but there's so much more for me to learn. You also talked about how you went from an accommodation to house and you said, okay, this ain't for me. I want to go back to accommodation. So just stuff like that, even mentally, do you feel like you've grown since being at university?
Definitely. I learned how to be independent because, just myself living overseas, living in the UK without my family, you definitely have to learn how to like cook or deal with everything yourself without your parents, without your family, because they might not understand what that is or what kind of situation that is. And they don't know the policy or law in the UK. So you have to deal with it yourself. And I think mentally you grow up a lot as well because you might be homesick, and at the same time you have so many assessment like deadlines you have to do. So you have to be strong. You must be strong mentally. And then I think I grow a lot throughout these 3 years or 2 years, to be honest, like how to deal with everything and how to travel alone as well.
Okay. If we now compare Taiwan to the UK, what is one thing that Taiwan could never beat the UK at? It's just the UK. This in the UK, it's just as much as I love the home country, this, you have to come to the UK to experience this.
Oh my god, I think there's two things that
Okay.
Taiwan can never ever compare to UK. One thing is charity shop. The other thing is Amazon and eBay.
Is that not existing in Taiwan?
We do have it, but as good as here. I mean, it won't deliver to your house. You have to pick it up on a store, a convenience store. So it's quite inconvenient, to be honest. And we don't have charity shop. I mean, Asian, they don't really like secondhand thing. I think that is why it doesn't exist. But I love charity shop.
And what is one thing that Taiwan could always beats the UK at? What's one thing you can only get in Taiwan?
So two things. First thing is food, of course. Yeah, because I'm Taiwanese, so I'm used to the Taiwanese food. And we also have some really delicious food there, I think, according to people I know who travel to Taiwan as British. And also convenience shop. We can pay tax, we can buy tickets, we can buy train tickets, or like Oyster card thing, or even like we can literally buy everything in convenience shop, and it's open 24/7.
Whereas in the UK, you can't really pay taxes in the convenience shop. That's not really.
No.
When you first came over to the UK, were there any culture shocks? So you had your initial idea of what the UK looked like, lived like, and the kind of people that were there. Then you came over here. What were the shocks when you came over?
I think, to be honest, I think the first culture shock was the food wasn't that bad. It's just not that bad. Why people keep saying this food is bad? I mean, I love the sausage roll. I love the pie. I mean, fish and chip, maybe sometimes if you keep eating it, it just, nah. But the food, like Greg's is amazing. It's cheap and good.
Greg's is beautiful. Sorry, not to cut you off. Greg's is.
No, it's okay.
What do you get in Greg's?
Huh?
What do you get in Greg's? What's your Greg's go-to?
Sausage roll.
They are known for their sausage
And the
roll. Have you
burgers
gone to Lidl?
Yes, I do. The croissant in Lidl, oh my god, and the egg tart is amazing as well. And also what's that? The cheese top and the bun, the cheese on the top. I would say Ashtar pancakes is amazing too. Have you
As the
tried it?
pancakes?
Yeah, have you tried
I
the
personally
pancakes?
haven't tried as the
It's
pancakes.
good. It's so use it before everything before every price goes up. Like last year, I remember Ashtar have like 2 pancake for £1 or £2, and I was like, oh my god, that it was so good. It's just amazing, you know, like the best pancake that I've ever tried. But now it just gets expensive.
It's too much. Were there any other culture shocks, like you said?
I
So
remember
the first one was the food is pretty good. It's not as bad as they make it seem.
yeah, and also I remember people keep telling me British are really like indifferent and mean and serious. And I mean, people in Bournemouth are so nice. They are not like that. Maybe some people, yeah, but most people are like, oh, really nice and kind and lovely. They are not what people say, like indifferent or what. I mean,
And
could be small country. Oh, sorry. I mean, it could be because we are small town.
it's a big UK is a big place, so it could just be. What I noticed when I was in Bournemouth is people are generally happy simply because you're a student. So, because Bournemouth is more of like a retirement town, so it's where you go when you're kind of like you probably experience it. You see like there's students, there's old people, then there's miscellaneous, but that's pretty much the majority. But when I think if you come to central London during rush hour, you experience what they mean by some people could be not as happy every day.
I know.
With them.
I have that experience as well. I mean, when I went to London, people could be really indifferent and just like mean, like especially rush hour. I get what you mean. Like in the underground was wow.
So if we compare then London to Bournemouth from an international student's point of view, what were the biggest differences?
You know, London is just a big city. You can get whatever thing you want. Like maybe like if you want to go to a Chinese market, London is the best place to get everything. And you can have like really authentic food, like Taiwanese food, for example, in Chinatown. But in Bournemouth, you can make it yourself. But you need to buy online, and you have to pay for the shipping fee, which is expensive. Yeah.
So you can't source your local ingredients for making traditional food in Bournemouth. You have to import it. Are you saying?
Some you can, some of them you can, but some of them you really cannot.
And let me ask, when coming from Taiwan, what advice would you give to students who are coming from different countries when it comes to packing?
That is a very good question. First thing, don't pack too much clothes. You are not going to wear everything. You can buy clothes here in the UK and you can use your student discount. So don't pack too much clothes. And what you need to bring is the food you will miss the most. Like maybe biscuits, snacks, or whatever thing, or like a cooking ingredient. Do bring that.
I was going to ask, will you find any problems at the border when bringing in certain foods? I think I've seen on TV there's certain things you're not allowed to bring, or do you know the rules behind that?
I think main thing is just don't bring like anything regarding pork or like raw meat or like vegetable.
Okay.
But dry vegetable or processed vegetable, you can bring it, or like preserved thing, you can definitely bring in, or like sweet. But instant noodle, that is a very tricky one, because some instant noodle you have some like pork or beef in it. Don't bring that.
Carry on though with packing. So don't pack all your clothes. Pack some traditional foods because you're probably going to need it. Also, traditional ingredients.
Yeah, and you can also pack some like a small package of like food or souvenirs for your good friends or like for your flatmate. Just just make friends with them, or even I don't know, just for someone else who are good or who is good, and just give it to them and they can try it, and then you can just let them know about your culture. And what else you need to bring is probably some notebooks or pencil. I know you can get this from UK, but probably not as cheap as for example me in Taiwan. It's just very cheap, and you can get so many colors as well. But don't bring too much as well. Maybe 5 to 10, and probably some shoes. Shoes are quite expensive here as well. In the UK, I would say, if you are not going to Primark or New Look getting the shoes, the shoes in JD or somewhere else is quite pricey, I would say. So do bring some shoes. and one slippers. And I think you can get it from UK or Ashdown everywhere.
What was it like converting? What currency do you have in Taiwan?
It's Taiwanese dollar, new Taiwanese.
So what was that like converting Taiwanese dollars to pounds? Because obviously you said everything basically in this country is expensive. So when it came to converting it / getting pounds to buy these things, would you suggest converting it before you come to the UK, while in the UK, or just buying the things if you can in Taiwan and shipping them over?
I think you can get in Taiwan and ship it over here. But if you already here, do not just send a big parcel, big package to here, because that it will be more expensive than buy that just in here in UK. Yeah.
And you talked about working at Mind, and then you met some different individuals, one of them being racist people. Do you feel like as a Taiwanese student, you've experienced some racism?
To be honest, when I first came here, I expect I will face a lot of racist thing. But in my first year, no, I don't think I faced any racist question or problem in my first year. But in my second year, when I start working in start volunteering in Mind, or like talking to some friends, and I know my friends are joking about like racist question, so I don't really mind. But I remember there was one specific thing, and I feel like it just makes me feel really uncomfortable. And as for the customer in the shop, I would just ignore it. I just pretend I'm not listening to him, and then he would just fine.
So although it's not, obviously we never support racism, we don't want it to be there, but unfortunately it will find its way in the creeks. It's something that you can deal with as a student. It didn't like overwhelm, although you had that one situation where you said, I didn't understand why you made that joke. It's not overwhelming for Taiwanese students when coming here and experience this type of racism. Would you agree or disagree with that statement? Saying it's overwhelming, the racism that you may face coming over to the UK.
I mean, I would say if you decided to come to like UK or some other countries, but especially if you're going to America, you need to have a mindset that you might have a question or face a question that's like someone is saying a racist joke or racist problem to you. But you shouldn't be really overwhelmed by those problems, to be honest, because it's not really your fault, and those jokes they makes to you, it's not really true. And they might don't know where you come from and make a different joke to you. Like you maybe you are Korean, but they make a Chinese joke to you, so you're not really relevant. So why bother? So if you choose to study abroad, it will be a really good experience, and just go for that because you only live once. So yeah, just go for it. Even though you might have some problem, like really difficult problem or some setbacks or something really frustrates you, but you can learn from the mistake, or you can learn from those things, and it just all your experience, and it will make you a better person.